It's another Vanguard economic discourse, but of course, this is the one of 2022, and it's holding at Civic Center today, 23rd of May, 2024. And the theme for this year is reforms in the era of global economic uncertainty. And the special guest of honor for today is Senator Kashim Shettima, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And also guest speaker is the CBN Governor, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso. And also we have Mr. Dele Oye and Dr. Ayo Teriba. These people will be joining us. And also we have a lot of other panelists. And of course, like I said, it's all happening at the Civic Center. And the program will be rounding up at exactly 1 p.m. But of course, you can tune in to all our social media platforms to also catch it live while it's going on. And you can get it on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and also our website, www.vanguardngr.com. My name is Damlola Okunshaki, and of course, we'll be on ground to give you updates.
Leaders of private sector and top government officials to have conversations around issues that the economy is grappling with and to prefer long-term solutions to these challenges. This year, the focus of the conversation will be around the theme reform in an era of global economic uncertainty. Okay, as I've said, the focus will be on reforms in an era of global economic uncertainty. The two things I can guarantee you in this event today, outside of having very honest, frank, and robust conversations, is the fact that there will be cross-pollination of brilliant ideas, as there will be a battle of wits, because we'll have a number of public intellectuals who will be engaging in what I describe as an intellectual judo. But at the end of the day, I believe that we will be leaving this room with better ideas on how to drive our nation forward, how to grow our economy, and how to guarantee prosperity for the millions of our citizens who are grappling with all sorts of economic challenges, difficulties, ranging from unemployment to poverty and insecurity. It is my belief that in this room there will be a myriad of solutions to many of these challenges. So I want to welcome you to this momentous event, and I want you to be full of participation, because I believe that will be worth every single minute of your time. And just before we welcome the editor for his opening address, because we're also expecting the chairman of this event, I'd just like to do by show of hand, perhaps we can do this also at the end of this event, to double check. But by show of hand, I'd like for each and every one of us to express a level of confidence and optimism that we have in Nigeria's economy today. So if you believe believe that our economy is heading in the right direction. I'd like you to show, for the show of hands, just raise up your hands if you believe that Nigeria's economy is heading in the right direction. Okay, so I should very few hands raised up. Okay, the second question I'd like to ask also is, do you have confidence the managers of our economy at both federal and state level? Do you have confidence in the managers of our economy at all levels of government? And I can see by a show of hands. And so you might have to look back to see the level of okay. So hopefully, maybe by the end of this event, and after any of our discussions, I would like to check again if those confidence levels have improved. But I believe that many of the conversations that we will be having will be centered not just around the economic issues that we're facing in the country today, but largely, just as the theme captures, the global economic uncertainty. Of course, we all know that largely due to global supply line disruptions after the COVID-19 pandemic, and of course, with the crisis, or if you like, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, energy prices or energy costs have pushed inflation across all of Europe and in many parts of the world. If you look also at shipping costs, that has risen over the last couple of months, largely due to cost of higher oil prices, and of course the disruptions in the Middle Sea by Houthi terrorism. All of these factors are not just only driving inflation high, but are also disrupting supply chains that has tremendous impact on our local economy. And so I believe that we'll be looking at many of these global issues as it relates to many of the challenges that we're dealing with as a country and as a people. One issue that is quite dear to my heart, and I hope that issue will be addressed, is the high level of food inflation in Nigeria today. We currently have one of the highest levels of food inflation since 1996. And perhaps we're going to find solutions to that particular challenge and see how we can bring down the level of food inflation, in our country. Because if you look at household expenditure, average household expenditure, is 66% on food and transportation. So we can deal with the cost of we will be able to free up discretionary incomes of many Nigerians, and also to a very large extent begin to drive consumer spending. So all of these are things that hopefully will find solutions to these challenges.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Our special guest of honor, Your Excellency, Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, ECON, ably represented here by Special Advisor to the Presidency, Dr. Tokwe Fashion, the Chairman and Publisher, Vanguard Media Limited, Uncle Sam Abuka, the Chairman of Vanguard Economic Discourse 2024, Nigeria's very eminent economist, Dr. Ayo Daliba, the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Olayemi Kadosu, who is our keynote speaker, well represented here by the Director of Risk, Mr. Blaise Ijebo, distinguished journalists, represented here by Madam Lady Ibu, Chairperson of Guardian Newspapers, Mr. Martin Oloja, distinguished senior journalists, and some senior executives of Nigerian Guild of Editors, eminent industry leaders, and personalities on our panel of discussants. Our special guests and eminent personalities here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this auspicious occasion at the 8th edition of Annual Vanguard Economic Discourse. The Vanguard Economic Discourse is the economic development thoughts leadership event hosted by Vanguard every year. Permit me first to point our attention to the purpose for which this event was instituted. For reminders, the Vanguard Media Limited runs on a tagline towards a better life for the people. This does not only guide our editorial content, it is also the philosophy behind all we do, including this discussion series. You all agree with me that there is no better life for anyone without economic wellness. Therefore, our objective for the Vanguard Economic Discourse is to build a major private sector thought leadership platform for economic policy interrogations and cross-fertilization of economic development ideas, with a view to fostering best-in-class and global practices in economic policy making and management. By the approach of this platform, we hope to get policymakers and public policy executives to explain their policy positions, do what is right and in the best interest of our citizens' livelihood. We also inject large doses of private sector content to present a balanced perspective and possibly build consensus across divergent economic agents. The theme of this year's discourse is reforms in the era of global economic uncertainties within Nigeria. It is predicated on the controversies over the immediate and short-term outcome of key policy choices of both the federal government and the monetary authorities, which seem to have caused significant pain to the citizens, but which has also pointed to the medium and long-term goal of a strong economic development footing. The core task of this discourse, therefore, is to unpack the bunches of issues in the controversies and promote actionable perspective. To lead us in achieving this vision, we are assembling an array of eminent personalities with diverse professional and economic pedigree, representing critical segments of our national life. We are confident that out of their inspiring presentations and the rich contributions of all our special guests and participants, there will emerge innovative ideas and recommendations on the most effective ways of bringing relief to Nigerians on challenges confronting the nation's economy. The management and editorial leadership of Vanguard Limited warmly welcome your excellencies and dignitaries to the 8th edition of the annual Vanguard Economic Discourse. We wish you a very delightful time at this discourse. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again. Just starting on your existing protocol, I'd like to recognize the presence of all the individuals who have joined us this morning. I'd like to recognize the presence of Senator Bode Olajumoke. Please put your hands together. I'd like to recognize the President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Joe Ajay. We also have with us the Director of African Industry Group, Mr. Rajan Gupta. Put your hands together for him. We have the CEO of Money Counselors, Mr. Michael Oyebola. We also have in our midst the President of the Association of PDC Operators of Nigeria, Mr. Vanguard. Please put your hands together with him. I think we also have the Acting Secretary General of the National Union of Electricity Employees, John Igbobi. Put your hands together. We are also delighted to have students of Vanguard Universities in Lagos State. We have
I think before we wait for the chairman to come and deliver his opening remarks, again another 5-10 minutes, as I am told, let me just welcome to the podium for a very short address representing the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the SA on Economy, Dr. Tombe Pasqua, to deliver a short address before
Right? Ladies and gentlemen, actually, the speech I have to deliver, the one by which the Vice President declares the event open. So it's not particularly a very short address, I just needed to relax. And so I'm delving into the speech now, and then here I go. I recognize the publisher, Uncle Sam, Madam, good morning. Other dignitaries that are present, Senator Olajumoke, I miss you. Permit me to stand on the protocol that was earlier established by the editor. So I'm speaking actually on behalf of the Vice President. Ladies and gentlemen, it was my profound pleasure to have accepted to speak at this year's edition of the Vanguard Economic Discourse. However, due to the competing exigencies of office, I am unable to be present physically. Still, I convey my profound best wishes to the founder of the Vanguard newspaper, Uncle Sam Abuka, to the editor, and all the amazing people who work at the famed newspaper brand, which has been around for more than 4 decades. I say a big earthy congratulations for your achievement and for being vanguards towards the achievement of the national aspiration, of our national aspirations, and the better world at large. The theme of today's event, Reforms in an Era of Global Uncertainty, speaks to the economic realities of every country in a world where there are no guarantees and where variables that determine economic success tend to morph at the speed of technology and innovation, changing with so much rapidity in the uncharted patterns that even the most astute of systems will struggle to keep abreast. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to take a historical view, because history not only tells us where we are coming from and where we are and where we are today, but also where we must be heading now. In the year 2020, the world went through a never before seen global pandemic occasioned by an unprecedented shutdown of all economies in the world. There was then a global economic recession, which nations are not only just clambering out of, and for most of them, very gingerly. Nigeria was no exception to that reality, and some of the decisions precipitated by COVID-19, such as the unprecedented resort to overdrawing of ways and means limits, are being resolved today with the commitment of our government never again to engage in such practices, even as we bravely walk down those overdrafts. It must be noted that the approach of the Bola administration has been to take the ways and means situation head on, setting very tight time limits towards resolving them, classifying the loans properly as part of national debt, and ensuring that any new debts are properly structured. It has been a Herculean task, given that almost every other country on earth, including highly developed nations, are still warehousing their own exposures created in that time, in time over the period, in their central banks and through other means. I urge you to think about this effort, given that we have taken a path of strict discipline, total transparency and accountability. Perhaps this, among other efforts, is responsible for the recent upgrade of our sovereign ratings by the world's best rating agency. We are on a mission to somewhere greater. Perhaps I should also take a minute to discuss my perspective about what we have termed global economic uncertainties before looking specifically at our country, Nigeria. The global pandemic will still go down as the most significant event of our time when the history is written. And we urge that we will deeply think about that occurrence and not confine its significance into the dustbin of history just yet, or shrug it off, so that we may not keep repeating the mistakes of the past. In that era, every country needed to take care of its own people. There was a lot of uncertainty about whether tomorrow will come at all, even as millions died across the globe. Nigeria was lucky to have contained the pandemic through valiant effort of our frontline officers and governments, national and subnational. That said, uncertainty was clearly defined by many economic thinkers at that period as a key theme that may define the rest of this decade. Uncertainty. The concern about uncertainty in this era is ubiquitous. It encompasses uncertainty in the minds of consumers, households, company executives, and political leaders alike. This decade started on that note. The concept of VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity became received wisdom for all. It must be said that uncertainty, volatility, complexity, and ambiguity could turn out as an advantage for some and disadvantage for others. Therefore, positioning is key in today's world. The clarion call is therefore continuous for Nigeria and Nigerians to continue to understand global trends and to position appropriately to be on the right side of history. As we like to say, Nigeria will carry us. Our astuteness, our resilience, creativity, ingenuity remain our most important assets, which we must continue to leverage for the greatness of our land. There are many factors that may precipitate uncertainty. One of them is the rapidity with which technology is evolving on a per-second basis. Without living in the age of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the Internet of Things, innovation has now developed wings on its own. Even human beings guessing where the next novelty will come from and what type of impact it will have on humans. We are in the age of technological employment, which made a case in its time, trying to broach. But we must notice that as technology renders millions jobless around the world, in what Yuval Noah Harari once described as the rise of the useless class, millions of new jobs are also being created still for those who have tooled themselves ready for tectonic changes happening around the world. And I know a number of our youth understand what I'm saying. Many of them are working remotely for companies all around the world now. They are not telling some of us who are older people. This is why my office, that's the office of the Vice President, has anchored what is known as the IDICE, Investment in Digital and Creative Initiatives and Industries, a $617 million project in the first instance, which is geared at training more than 2 million youth in the latest innovations in technology and creative sector, while unleashing 5 million new jobs in Nigeria. We have also launched the OTME, Outsource to Nigeria initiative, which was to train and tool 74,000 youths in the first instance and get them ready for the global market that more of this shortage. Still ruminating over the uncertainty that defines our world today, creating considerable volatility, especially in developing nations like ours, we need to include other centrifugal factors such as insecurity, global economic downturns, external instabilities leading to slump in commodity prices, natural disasters, global geopolitics, such as is happening around the world now, politics, Iran, Palestine, all of that, and a number of other currencies that are outside of our control. Internally, Nigeria has a number of concerns to wrestle now, from insecurity to economic diversification, to energy stability, food insecurity, industrialization, productivity, high inflation, and a host of others. As I will explain below, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is valiantly tackling many of these issues in a decisive manner, and there's hope for our young ones here present. We are certain that in a short while, every Nigerian will see clearly emerging a new, fully energized nation ready to face the world and to take our delimited space in a pantheon of nations. Everybody's contribution to this new vista that we see is highly welcome, and we must banish unproductive cynicism. We urge every Nigerian, old and young alike, to view their nation positively, to notice some of the positively profound changes happening around them, and to make themselves available for these new opportunities. If there is a single word that can start to describe the administration of President Bola Tinubu, it has to be decisiveness. One of the greatest attributes of leadership is visioning. Another is decisiveness in doing what may not be popular but is necessary. As we all line up behind the great leader who has a great vision for our nation, we committed to the success of key reforms, chiefly around the removal of petroleum subsidies and finding a workable value for the naira. May 29, 2023 was a decisive moment, and we believe that the promises of our government will be attained under the leadership of our president. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, it is right to consider the efforts of our administration and to seek your continued support. As stated above, we have tried to institute transparency in government. We have tried to cut waste and excesses being paraded as subsidies, and we have embarked on reforms that will eventually stabilize our exchange rate so that investors, businesses, and households may be able to plan forward with a level of improved certainty. These are basic reforms that are necessary to propel us forward. But on the flip side, we have also instituted as many as 100 new policies impacting Nigerians in all ways of life. First, we have created at least 5 new ministries: gas, housing, tourism, creative economy, and blue economy, to help capture the productivity of our human capital in some erstwhile neglected sectors. These new ministries, therefore, are geared at adding considerably to the growth of our gross domestic product GDP. Mr. President also recently rejigged his economic team for obtaining the vast experience and savviness of top private sector leaders, alongside forming an economic emergency task force. Ladies and gentlemen, in terms of projects and programs, I want to draw your attention to a few of them. We have launched and put in place a 200 billion naira business intervention fund for our nano, micro, small, and medium companies, enterprises. We have 39 million of them, and they constitute about 11% of the global population of MSMEs. Nigeria alone contributes 11% of the global population of MSMEs. This underlines the Nigerian spirit. Mr. President keeps reminding us that our first name is Can-Do, and our surname is Spirit. In the housing sector, we have since commenced the building of a targeted 250,000 housing units in what we call the renewed home cities. And a lot of that is coming to you here in Lagos. A portal was opened just yesterday to allow for the transparent and democratic approach for Nigerians to get involved. On infrastructure, we have launched 20 trillion renewable infrastructure fund with hopes of attracting a lot more investment to totally transform infrastructure in Nigeria. The 700 kilometers Lagos-Calabar coastal highway is one of those initiatives. There's also the 1,000 kilometer Kalahari highway, which will open up so many communities that are passed. Add to that, 481 kilometer Trans-Sahara road which links the southeast of Nigeria with FCT and Benue, Kogi, and Nasarawa State. Nigeria is seeing the burst of well-constructed growth at the national and international level, and this will continue under our administration. There's also the launch of Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, which has seen over 1.9 million Nigerians applying for over 2 trillion in barely 2 weeks of the launch. There is much enthusiasm in Milan for those who have remained possible. What about the student loan fund, which is kicking off this week? This is another novel initiative directed at our youth. Just last week, Mr. President launched the annual gas project, 3 projects in Imo State, which are meant to add an additional 500 million cubic feet, or 25% to Nigeria's gas stock. We are also in the process of adding 90,000 kilometers of fiber optics to take Nigeria's internet penetration to 70%. Ladies and gentlemen, to tackle food insecurity, our Ministry of Agriculture has embarked on a massive project in wheat and other products that have covered already over 120,000 hectares of new cultivation in this season alone, with a target of 500,000 hectares. This is aimed at saving Nigeria the $5 billion we spend importing wheat yearly. In addition, with the support of our government is lending to our private sector-led oil refineries and the rejuvenation of some of the state-owned facilities, the $25 billion we spend yearly importing petroleum and other refined products will soon be a thing of the past, allowing the Naira a much-deserved breather. The investment in rice over the years is paying dividends as existing farms continue to produce. Nigeria is now known as one of the major rice producers in the world, and the billions of dollars we used to expend as a nation, rice importation has since ebbed. We believe as we walk down inflation, prices of these staples will come down considerably. We'll also add to our noticeable achievement the innovation that we have carried out in the immigrations and visa processing, which is greatly improving Nigeria's image and encouraging businesses and tourism. And the harmonization of import and export processing, the harmonization of taxes, which intends to streamline and ensure that only those with the means will be taxed. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President has been able to secure more than $20 billion in potential investment into the country, including $14 billion from India, $250 million from the Netherlands, and commitments of $500 million for lithium development in Nasarawa State, as well as another $500 million from Germany and into renewable avenues for renewable. The Siemens power project sector picks up speed presently and will be able to show salutary effect on our energy efficiency in time. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has always maintained that we don't know it all. We are a humble but determined government open to ideas and refinements from well-meaning members of society. We are not afraid to backtrack and review if the policy would impose undue hardship on Nigerians as has been seen over time. This administration is not out to make the life of Nigerians tougher, but to make Nigerian economy sustainable and the life of our people more enjoyable. Be rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, that the next few years will be full of positive achievements, improvements in standards of living, higher productivity, food security, bumper harvest, and remarkable achievements with the guidance and grace of Almighty God. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have further ambitions. We are leveraging on the knowledge of globalization to get into value chains, global value chains, by ensuring that Nigerian companies get involved in the manufacture of complex products by contributing value-added components to complex production all over the world. We will continue to push our exporters to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. We will continue to invest more and more in our most important resource, human beings, and we are developing several programs to counter the oftentimes false narrative that have been built up against the image of our country. We hope to precipitate a reverse brain drain and ensure that Nigeria is able to attract know-how embedded in the best brains from around the world. This is how we hope to truly diversify our economy away from dependence on a single product. We are also thinking beyond adding value to natural resources, as Mr. President has directed, to developing more capabilities and capacities in many more areas of our economy, including manufacturing, technology, industry, and the creative sector. Ladies and gentlemen, please note that our promises stand. Our leader, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a promise keeper. We, his lieutenants, will do all within our powers to deliver those promises. We shall not shirk our projection to achieve a $1 trillion GDP by 2031, which strongly suggests that our economy must start growing in double digits. We will capture every growth from every sector in the economy. Trust us to give it the best shot possible. As they say, those who aim for the skies are likely to find themselves among the stars. We will also strive to improve the per capita income of Nigeria and to protect our most vulnerable citizens from the enemy. Again, my appeal today is for your support, understanding, perspective, contribution, the productivity, the perseverance, the sacrifice, because we have no other country but our beautiful country, Nigeria. Join us in this Equia turnaround journey. Once again, I thank Vanguard for the invite and the opportunity to speak and share our vision. And on this note, on behalf of His Excellency Vice President Kashim Shettima, I hereby declare this dialogue. God bless Vanguard, Mr. Back, and God bless the Federal Government.
Thank you once again, Mr. Pashman, for the quality efforts. Let me also very quickly welcome students from the Nigerian Institute of Journalism. Put your hands together for them. We also have joining us the President of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, Prince Adewale Adeon. Please put your hands together for him. We also have joining us council members of the Chartered Institutes of Stockbrokers, Mr. Sahib Bashir, Mr. Tenito Adeosun, Mr. Abiodun Admiro, Mrs. Elil Olutimai, and of course, Dr. Emi. Please put your hands together. So very quickly, I'd like to welcome to the podium to deliver a keynote speech on behalf of Mr. Olaye Cardoso, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Please, they will welcome Mr. Blasi Ijebo, the Director of Risk Management of the Central Bank of Nigeria, to deliver the keynote speech. Please put your hands together.
Good morning. Good morning. Permit me to recognize the President of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented this morning. Permit me to also recognize distinguished members of the National Assembly and their representatives, representatives of the federal and state executives, captains of industries, pilots, temporal and spiritual, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be speaking as a representative of the government of the Central Bank of Nigeria. But permit me to make a caveat that I will not be making any policy statement today. Anything that is perceived as a policy statement today, let me assure you it is not. As the first speaker said, we're going to be talking about reforms in the era of global economic uncertainties within Nigeria. I will read parts of the speech, but I will also intend to give it more color and flavor as we go along. so please bear with me. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to deliver this keynote address at this auspicious occasion of the 2024 Vanguard Economic Summit. I'm very delighted to be here today, particularly the fact that I'm in the midst of great intellectual minds and great assets to our great nation, Nigeria. I'm also pleased about the aptness and the timeliness of the topic for this year's summit. The theme, Reforms in the Era of Global Economic Uncertainty within Nigeria, embodies for me the tough challenges and the trade-offs that policymakers worldwide are having to make or are having to navigate in response to the choppy headwinds and economic turbulence we all face. In this era that has been aptly captured as the VUCA era, which is the era of volatility, uncertainty, is characterized by choppiness of the headwind that are driven by an unending stream of shocks in the global and the regional sphere. This has led to what we term today as an elevated level of global uncertainty. It is true, there is an index called the World Uncertainty Index that measures how uncertain the world is today. And the last report of that index says that, and I like the way it summarizes it, so let me read it for you. It says, the shocks that have shaken the global economy in recent years have introduced a new normal for turbulence. These episodes, the turbulence, driven in some cases by political fragmentation between countries, these episodes also lifted uncertainty to exceptionally high levels, which in turn hurt economic growth. And I think that's the part that we are particularly interested in today. The uncertainties that we are seeing globally is having significant impact on economic growth and economic outcomes. On this fact, the IMF said recently that we are expecting a growth rate of about 3.2% globally. However, it was quick to mention that there is clear risk to the achievement of this economic growth level, and it names those risks as including tight financial conditions, disruptions to global supply chains, geopolitical tension, and economic fragmentation. The economic market, the financial market tightening that we have seen globally has been as a result of monetary authorities taking steps to rein in inflation. And as the market tightening, that has had impact on developing economies like ours, because we have seen flights of investment leading the developing economy back to safety as they worry about risk and uncertainty. Energy and financial markets, as well as world trade goods, have also been impacted significantly by conflict, especially the crisis in the Middle East and the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, which we have seen impacting on trade routes and other markets. These impacts have resulted in a drag on economic growth and has caused significant inflationary pressure. In addition, we have also seen fragmentation that started during the COVID-19, where governments have resorted more to protectionism, to keeping more of what they produce to protect themselves. These kind of protectionism have created uncertainty in global trade. Furthermore, the growth in global debt levels, especially amongst developing countries that are also struggling to pay or to cover the debt repayment schedule, has also created some additional uncertainty in the economic environment. On the domestic front, we have been faced with uncertainty driven by high inflationary pressure, FX volatility, rising debt burden, and slowing economic growth. The challenge of high inflation in Nigeria is driven likely by food inflation due to the rising cost of transport, of farm produce, infrastructure-related constraints, security challenges for food-producing areas, and exchange rate pass-through to domestic prices for imported goods. All of this have created uncertainty for businesses and for homes. Another concern that we face is the volatility in the foreign exchange market, which over the years have been driven by market distortions and reduced supply of foreign exchange, which have created opportunity for speculative activities that have impacted the price and the rate and the value of the naira. In addition, we've had concerns, or more or less, we prioritize as one of the things that we need to do, increasing the capacity of the banking system to be able to facilitate the size of transactions that will help us build and establish the $1 trillion economy that Mr. President has envisioned. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, having identified some of the challenges based on the abundant human resources, which is typified by the great talents and intellectual capacity that I see across the room this morning, and the natural resources in our land, we certainly deserve better outcomes than the current economic realities that we find ourselves. In responding to these uncertainties, and indeed to any kind of uncertainty, the need for appropriate focus and unwavering reforms cannot be overemphasized. As the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, I remain committed to reposition the bank to deliver meaningful, data-driven, and sustainable solutions with clear positive impact on the lives of all Nigerians. However, addressing these challenges requires the concerted effort of all stakeholders, especially the monetary and fiscal authority working in harmony. I therefore wish to acknowledge the contribution of Vanguard newspaper in organizing this very important summit as a platform for collaboration and synergy in the march towards our common goal of a larger and more resilient economy. When I was being ushered in, I had the opportunity to greet the publisher, this adorable one, and I was going to whisper to them a big thank you for putting this together. Because we hope that at the end of this summit, we'll be able to harvest many new and germane ideas that we will mix with available data to move our country forward. Like we all know, we are always on the lookout for new ideas, for new collaborations, for new ways to add value to our economy and to build our economy and make it work for all of us. On our part, my team and I, the Central Bank of Nigeria, are determined to continue to implement bold reforms to make the economy work for all Nigerians. We have embarked on tightening the bank's monetary policy to address inflationary pressure in the economy and believe that the results will become evident in the near term. Luckily, we are already seeing deceleration in inflation, evidenced by a decline in the month-on-month growth in headline and food inflation rates based on our March 2024 numbers. We remain committed to use all the orthodox monetary policy tools available to us to address inflation. We have also embarked on major reforms to liberalize the foreign exchange market, which has enhanced transparency, reduced arbitrary opportunity, promoted stability, and improved liquidity in the market. The settlement of all valid FX forwards, which was one of my commitments when I came on the Central Bank of Nigeria, as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, has also improved the confidence of stakeholders. We are already seeing the result of this reform in the growth of FX flows into the country. In fact, the FX flows into the country in Q1 of 2024 was 136% of the total inflows that we had in the whole of 2023. I think that deserves a round of applause. In addition, we are working to address the challenges in the BDC segment. To this end, we have developed and revised regulatory and supervisory guidelines for bureau exchanges operation in Nigeria. This is aimed at ensuring that BDCs play the right role that they have been envisioned to play in the foreign exchange market. In addition, we have also revoked the license of BDCs who have been established, have been involved in unwholesome practices. Also, we continue to be focused on increasing the flow from diaspora remittances into the economy via official channels to improve liquidity in the foreign exchange market. We are working closely with key stakeholders in this segment, and recently, to push this forward, we licensed 14 new IMTOs, which are international money transfer operators, to enhance competition, efficiency, and transparency in the foreign exchange market. We continue to be committed to a transparent and functional FX market where price discovery is based on market-driven frameworks, and we are confident that this will lead to long-term stability of the Naira, which I hope is what all of us see. Let us be able to know exactly what the rate of the Naira is at any given time. Furthermore, the bank is in the process of implementing far-reaching reforms in the banking system, which include increasing the capital requirement for banks to improve financial system stability and enhance the capacity of banks to support the 1 trillion economy envisioned by Mr. President. Measures are also being taken to ensure good ethical and professional practices in the banks by enforcing compliance with enhanced corporate governance guidelines. Distinguished participants, I am pleased to know that some of our bold actions are already bearing fruit, evidenced by the improvement in Nigerian foreign credit rating and the commendations from the World Bank and other multilateral institutions. We are confident that the prudent implementation of our reform program will restore the economy to the path of inclusive and accelerated economic growth in the near term. I would like to acknowledge that much more work is required to address our economic challenges. But let me assure you that the Central Bank of Nigeria is committed to and will continue to enhance its efforts to deliver on its mandate of promoting monetary and price stability in Nigeria. The CBN will continue to strengthen its collaboration with other regulators as well as with fiscal authorities in order to deliver sustained and inclusive economic growth. In doing this, the Central Bank will pay attention to all the deliberations of this summit for further engagement and opportunity to help it steer the economy and affairs of our country towards a stable and prosperous future. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to conclude my remarks by thanking once again Vanguard newspaper for its commitment and contribution to the economic development of Nigeria by regularly organizing these economic summits. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir, for the remarks. All right. So, before we move ahead, let me quickly recognize the presence of the former Minister of Industry of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Chief Dr. Mrs. Ike Akonde. Please put your hands together for her. We also have joining us the President of the Association of Small Businesses of Nigeria, Dr. Femi Egbeshola. Please put your hands together for him. We have representing the Managing Director of the News Agency of Nigeria, Mr. Olaleye Ajani. Your hands please together for him. And we also have Princess Ogene, the GMB of GMYT Group. Please put your hands together for her. All right, so without wasting much time, we'd like to quickly welcome to the podium the CEO of Economic Associates to deliver his remarks. Yeah, the CEO of Economic Associates, Dr. Ayo Temima.
I have to present during this speech for my address. Because I understand because of the history I want to speak. Good morning. And, welcome this year, Vanguard Discourse. I thank Sam and Vanguard family for very kindly putting this together. The last time I was meant to attend, before it was called off, because of the outbreak of the pandemic, was year 2020. It had prepared, I was meant to be the people speaker, written a long piece in on Nigerian Security Council. I eventually published it. The session was called off because the pandemic has come and here we are again. So, Sam, thank you for giving us the opportunity to reflect on Nigeria's situation and marking the way forward. I would like to have only 10 minutes, so I will minimize the time I spend on what I wish to recognize His Excellency, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is a special today. Is represented by Special Advisor Economic Matters and also wish to recognize Governor of Central as also given in the address represented with us and the President of Nasima, most distinguished ladies and gentlemen, including former Minister of Industries, I recognize some of the notable nations. Let me offer my reflection on the theme of today's discourse. We are in the midst of global economic uncertainty, and fortunately, Nigeria has a new government. Tinubu, Etima administration that gives Nigeria an opportunity to look at things afresh. And they are pursuing what they have described as the unique feature of their administration, as I would like to note. I said this in the paper shortly after that since the democratic transition in Nigeria, 1999, this is the first time Democrats who struggled for the democratic transition are having a bite at the presidential head. Ironically, Nigeria's transition has produced two tired, military officers over heads of states. So you've gotten quickly from the military and 16 years of the 24 and on that retired military officers. This is the first time you have people who are at the forefront of the struggle occupying the country and the democratic class cannot afford to fail. This is 30 years ago, and both the president and the vice president have been members of the National Assembly, the senators. Both of them have been state governors 8 years. So they are living and they can speak to, relate to the subnational, they can relate to the legislator. So they have no reason. Okay. And the rest of us should also not give them any excuse. They need to succeed, regardless of the mounting task that the global reality presents. So it is in that regard I will, contribute my own, three very simple suggestions. And the first is that I see what the government is doing, trying to find money which to run the government, which to maintain people's welfare, to transform this infrastructure. And that is a very simple message for them as far as fiscal control is concerned. That the major lesson coming from the global uncertainty is that the age when we can rely on GDP or income to generate the resources we need to run government is in the past. We are facing a post-industrial transition, and the major loss in that transitory process is income, is output. That our own GDP has declined steadily over the last 10 years, since 2015, from $600 billion US to $850 billion. So if that's what you are trying to tax or borrow against our exports leads the decline, then you are trying to rely on exports or tax or debt. You borrow against income, which is the error of the past decade. That both the Jonathan administration that was there when the oil and commodity prices collapsed, and the government needed to find a path away from income independence towards asset independence. You find that any country that is still struggling to depend on, income or output, including Japan, including Germany, including all the Euro area countries that were industrial champions and were trade champions, are stagnating or in decline. Japan shares the top feature of Nigeria that its GDP has declined steadily over the last 1 year. So it's not about, strong and industrial giant. It's about the reality of global post-industrial transition is that output dependence is the thing of the past. Replace that asset dependence. And some of the best examples of countries depending on assets include the United States, that continues to grow steadily, led by its companies. India, that has jumped from being the 10th GDP in the world to the 5th. soon overtake the man and Jack. The top line is and look at what they are doing. They are connecting global liquidity to their local assets. And I had the CEO of investing here say that since 2015, we have attracted $500 billion in FDI. It really doesn't matter what they lose from exports. They're able to generate and more than compensate for it in total assets. Nigeria is rich in assets. Look at Saudi, they're breaking on assets. Look at UAE or even Malaysia. To find the resources to meet world needs, to do infrastructure, to be strong, to build reserves. I have all that the central bank said, and that's going to be my second point. Turn to assets. Nigeria is very rich in assets. Rich in state-owned companies. And we need to take them to the market. This 1% equity, this 5% equity, I'm not saying sell them. Establish their market value. So we don't even know what they are worth. Our balance sheet is very weak. Compare that to Saudi that took around the market in 2019. And the revenue is worth more than $2 trillion now. So is there a $500 billion idling somewhere, corporate assets that we own? Will it be better for it if we discover those values? Because we can leverage them. We have real estate that are potentially valued, are not valued. They are empty. They are not empty. They have the national symbol. They are secret. Many of the barracks. For me, I'm sitting next to the Atlantic City. To be relocated. Market value is going to be similar to the Atlantic City. We have nothing from it. We borrow 2 billion, we borrow 3 billion. Think about what you can fetch in your real estate asset. We have infrastructure. We are the only big economy that remains that builds airports but not terminals. And where the money is made, 40% of the revenue in our nation is made in terminals. Where people can shop, where hospitality can be provided. Some people provide office accommodation, some provide hotel accommodation. We don't build terminals and investors, we jump at that, we open that, investors. Real terminals in transportation. There are opportunities, not just in Nigeria. We have our transmission. You say the insurance of our problem, transmission is. You don't have capacity. You don't have the capacity to tell us. Open the space to investors. Let investors come. So have access we can leverage on. And we suffer needlessly. Those who just neglect to leverage on our assets. That's one. So move from income centrism to asset centrism. And this is one of them. This discourse encourages us to keep watching government to work it. The sooner we move on to asset independence, the better for the future of Nigeria. Second, I hear what the central bank has told us. And I will be the first to comment current team at the central bank. Because I am dealing with the shell of the crisis that they inherited. Within the central bank, within the banking system, within the foreign exchange market, and the protect us. And in the economy, happening the last 6 months, we are bringing orderliness back to particular the foreign exchange market. It led us out of an opaque regime, which no one knew what was happening. It had a shock of 2.4 billion all schemes foreign exchange in the central bank. So they led us out of that opaque. It's commendable. They made us out of an exclusive regime in play group of players and excluded that group of players to a regime of inclusiveness. Everybody that deserves a place on the table has a place on the table. They told us how many new ITOs have been licensed. And then something with this and removing, reasonable fees, licensing fees, is commendable. And most importantly, they achieved unified exchange rate that had eluded us maybe for a decade. They unified exchange rates. Commendable. Really strong. My only concern is the persistence of the volatility of the exchange rate. I see that tightening, they are doing administrative interventions, but the big question is that we can all see that the reason the exchange rate is volatile, that our reserve levels are inadequate. Here, central bank, in particular the government, saying loudly and clearly to banks that they should prepare to build their capital base to levels that will make them able to pay in $1 trillion economy. What I don't hear him or anybody from the central bank saying, what are they doing to ensure that Nigeria also builds up reserves that will support $1 trillion? It's a conversation that can move to the front corner. But it's coming to tightening monetary policy. Tightening monetary policy without reserve and policy can be full time. So let's speak more about what is being done to ensure 40 billion in reserves is not adequate even for a $350 billion GDP. Much less for $1 trillion. What are we doing to ensure that reserves exchange deposits that is not maintaining asset growth behind the wall of reserves? It's very, very important. And this second conversation, we voted for. It's not only I commend everything that the government is doing to transition from income to assets. And speaking more specifically, when you remove the speck, the eyes of the banks, let's remove the log in our own eyes first. Because before we capitalize banks, and let's create for issues in the new capital, let's rebuild reserves. So that behind that wall of reserves, exchange rate can be stable, inflation can come down, and the economy can grow and become a country where we are sharing prosperity. Well, I understand. I had just about a minute left. I want to just leave it at this point. Thank you very much.
Please another round of applause for Dr. Vanguard. It's always a delight to listen to you. Alright, so you have a serious job of recognition there. Let me recognize the presence of Dr. Innocent Oponsa, who is the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN. Please put your hands together for him. He's been joined by the first deputy president of ICANN and the CEO of ICANN, Madam Karuna Yahya, and Dr. Olasapa. Please put your hands together for them. I'd like to also recognize Dr. Adebayo Adeleke, who is the GMD of Lancelot Ventures. Please put your hands together for him. Mr. Victor Chiazon, who is the head research FSL Securities. Ozuga, who is the chief financial of Afriland Properties. I'd like to also recognize Chief Ephraim Fallow, who is the chairman of Southern Cross Insurance, and of course, President, Association of Micro Enterprises of Nigeria, Comrade Prince Xavier EJ. Also just scroll now, which I'd like to also recognize his presence, the CEO of Financial Derivatives, Mr. Bismarck. Everyone, please put your hands together. And finally, I'd like to recognize Mr. Shinaso Izora, who is the Senior Associate, ATM Partners. Please put your hands together. All right, so we move straight to the paper presentation by the guest speaker of this economic discourse. And I'd like to welcome to the podium the President of the Nigerian Association, Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Mr. David Kelvin Oye, to deliver his guest. Thank you. Please put your hands together for the
the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Hashim Shettima, represented in a fashion. I also want to recognize Central Bank Governor. That's very important now, because with the rates are going, now to give them the honor, to recognize Mr. Rami and also every president of this place in general. It doesn't appear that I also recognize the publisher of the partner, our host, Mr. Sam Okra, actually for the presidency. I don't know why it feels really outside of the expectation. And I also recognize the publisher of President Pedro. And that also our big one, Mr. I just appeal that you allow me to stand as a secret code. And I will not forget the speaker, Dr. Nika Akande, former president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce, and also the former minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. She's ever young. She's our biggest ambassador in the Chamber of Commerce. I also will not forget the man I always admire for the bit from far, Mr. Ismail Rewani. When I saw your paper, I'm going to adopt it here so that I leave the data to you. I speak like a businessman, somebody who is affected by policies, instead of trying to engage in that mathematics and end up losing myself. I don't appeal if I don't recognize you personally. Please, you are all recognized. I think we're all here to learn one or two things, or at least have engagement so that we can all speak to ourselves. I would beg you not to use the Nigerian language. I want to rest from the existing protocols so that we can start first. I must first by saying, like I've said, I don't know why I was chosen. Maybe because someone felt they don't have from Nasima. And some of us are here, maybe don't know what Nasima is. Nasima is the umbrella body for all chambers of commerce in Nigeria. We comprise all the chambers and have 71 locations. And we have some 71 physical offices in the entire 6 states. We are one of the largest, if not the largest business in Nigeria. Because I don't know of any other private sector organization that has 71 physical offices in different places. Then we also have another set of bilateral chambers, which are part of that network. We have the Nigerian American Chamber, they are also part of that network. They also have some big companies on the Dangote who are also our corporate members. So when you look at the total strength of the Nasima, we are almost really about 71% of the economy. That is why we don't criticize people. But we know the implication. And most importantly, one of the biggest jobs of any chamber of commerce is to encourage foreign direct investment. We are part of this foreign association chamber of commerce worldwide convention. So each time they see something in the newspaper, they send to us for us to verify. So we know how it will look. If it's my own speech that is being sent to me to say, is this true? So it becomes difficult sometimes for you to speak publicly. So before we do on close times, is to engage in a variety. I actually have a list which I have here, which of several letters we use to engage government and different MPAs. Like the last one I wrote to my friend the Central Bank, I wrote only 2 pages. And I got an 8-page response. I don't know what they were explaining. The question was that simple. So what I'm saying is, we do engage in policy. In fact, we wrote to Mr. President when he came to cancel development finance. Because we saw that it was being misused. How much was it for? In some time, it's still about 40 and one back. And we told them to take the money to the development banks and also give money for commercial banks. I think Nigeria got 400 billion. And that is very well known for one of my members who raised an LC of about $70-80 million every month. So what we are trying to say is, they accepted the advice and they don't use the thing in the way we want to use so that we can actually have single digit. I go straight to the paper now by saying, first of all, our president came from an 8-point agenda. 8-point agenda. I'm not a politician. I'm also not here to do a referendum for the president. Because I also believe to some extent, this is probably a victim of some of those working for him. But if you look at the policies, I want you to be the judge when I finish. Whether those agendas is consistent with the policies of some of the MDAs, the local ministries. So this is what I want us to do as newspaper or as communication persons. You should also to hold public officers to account and say, this is your boss engagement with us. Why is yours different? So that you can explain. But there's an African saying that the uproar tree is never stronger than the owner. No matter how tall, you block it down. So Mr. President has that power at any time to pull down or bring to the level of his policy whatever the days are doing. And these 8 agendas are well built because we have a long way to go and I don't know how long they have. The house agenda for food security. We also have the ending poverty. That's very important for all of us. Economic growth and job creation. In fact, we tell that will create 50 million jobs. Access to capital at the current CBN MPR rate rates, the banks are doing about 50% now or 5%. Even if they are doing drugs, you cannot get profit. So I don't know who they are doing it to. Improving security, rule of law, fighting corruption, these are the 8 point agendas. And we also went further to say needed national strategies, implementation, monitoring, collaboration, transparency, sectoral focus, challenges and expectations, then the economy environment. All these were part of this. And this was read by the Minister of Finance and the Deputy Minister in their first meeting of ministers. So we're all very happy. We can't afford to cover by it. And we don't look forward to the problems. I must also confess here that Mr. President came to have very, very significant challenges in Nigeria. I mean, serious. In fact, there was allegations that the previous government was actually borrowing to pay salaries. So if he did not do the first subsidy on that day one, we would have had a situation where you are just taking over and the whole Nigeria guys just taking us because there's no money to even buy diesel for the dealer. So no problem, fight for it. And I said the first subsidy, which was the first thing. In fact, President confessed that he did not put it in his speech, and he had to put it by himself so that when he said, don't say it, he did it. I said, Nigeria is African, I think I'm not number 3 or 4 in the world. I've never heard any in Africa, I've never heard any government official acknowledge that Nigeria has gone down. Not one. And that's a major selling point for us. And the largest economy in Africa. We went down to our own fault because our exchange rate, and then you value everything, don't matters. As we are here now, if the dollar falls, it affects all of us. Unless if you are smart enough, whether put your money in high assets, whom you think will appreciate, whether it's in cash, in naira, naturally falls. And that's why everybody across the world at when they send dollars. Everybody keep buying. People in the market you don't need dollars, but they have to keep their value at the same time. So, and the South Africa further economies in crisis due to post economic reforms and the currency redesign and removal of subsidies and currency flows. So these are 3 critical things. The first subsidy was removed. One expected central bank then on that phase of very significant policy. So they are doing now, the MPRO, should have kicked in to arrest so that people don't go and borrow and create more problems. They did not. In fact, they waited 3 months before they started work. So this MPRO has seen every week and every month now, going up, capital adequacy. You only started happening the last 3-4 months. So this is a challenge. As an investor, as an entrepreneur, these are issues which we must ask ourselves. I'm very happy the director is here, so at least we can take something back to central bank government. So I've mentioned that we have issues with the fuel subsidy, currency fluctuation, the floating of our currency. And I must mention that the change of the currency was not by this regime. It was done by Esquire presidential candidate, Rebellion, and Odebe. Didn't you see the campaign posters? And I don't know how I managed to keep this job after that kind of campaign. Any country will get law. You won't even go back to the office today and announce their president. So he mentioned one thing which that currency change also did. From my own research and knowledge, most of my chambers of commerce, my Kano, Kasina chambers of commerce, I have members that sell goods as far as Libya. They come with ones of dollars. They buy transformers, they buy generators, they load it and take it to Sahel. So Naira was a very key currency in that ecosystem. Almost about kilo naira business, where naira people keeping naira for them to use to buy goods in Nigeria. So immediately we change our currency, what happened? They immediately have to dump the naira and go for a CFL dollar. Just imagine that impact, and nobody has done that research on the impact of that policy change, which all of us can, if we search all of us in this room now, we may not get 500,000 in our pocket, all of us together. But the POS merchant outside can give you 2 million. But nobody has asked, how do we get there? Even the banks, they don't have cash. But the president gave the contract for their ATMs to private businesses. Those private businesses, when they make any problems and then they don't know, the POS and those of us that used to spray, they took over that business. Nobody has cash. There's no cash. I said, look, if you go to the bank, they give me 5 million. They give you. But the POS spends cash. So this is some of the issues, and I'm saying the Central Bank is trying to regulate them by asking them now to register corporate affairs. I don't know whether it was a proper package for somebody who's just sitting under this phone, who does not have a She to start from a corporate ladder where they have to engage and to fight taxes. And the man that trying to kill the business alone, then one expects that it should be a stakeholder engagement, where you can bring those people in a very formal way. And start with the business thing, not to say, big directors, or beside you, that will be the director, where they have a board meeting under the canopy, and something like the kind of policies you see. It's like somebody reading from a book in America, trying to use it in Ajebole. It won't work. So this is part of the challenges we have. So we have the inflation of the naira. And I want to say here that there are only 10 countries in the world where they freely sell their currencies. 10. When I say 10, I'm taking the EU as a country for this purpose. So you have the USA, EU, Japan, Norway, Australia, and a few others. Then you also have a set of countries who have stronger fundamentals than Nigeria. And that is Qatar, China, India, UAE. They don't sell their currency the way Nigeria sells. You know why? They don't have governance. The area of Qatar can change the price of currency by decision. So the investor in the US will not bet on that currency because it's subject to political changes. Then here comes Nigeria with all our fundamentals. We can even pay for the goods we are importing. The central bank is still dodging the people that gave them money almost 18 months to 12 months for 2.4 billion when the National Assembly yesterday, and they almost summoned for the show. And we want to sell our money like EU, Euro, Japan. It's like in Enugu areas. You take one play in the league of European Union. How many goals? Don't you know the result? I understand that we need, if you are to defend the naira, you need to have a reasonable approach. But what is important is we should know policies. Let the CBN tell us where these are wrong. What they are doing in Nigeria with our currency. Tell us which country you are using as an example so that we know talking how they sustain it. So what I'm saying is, everything is not by textbook. You have to look at your peculiar situation and say and do what you have to do. And I can tell you, whoever is asking them to do this, they are not doing it in their country. Every country defends their currency. You can see what America is doing to China to slow them down so that America can continue to prevail. You can see where they protect their industries. Look at what they do. Who are we? Who are we to them that is the biggest telecom company in the world? They started accusing them of all sorts of things. Look at what's happening to TikTok. Countries must defend their own. In Nigeria, there is nothing for the Nigerian businessman. If you doubt me, go and have a problem with a foreigner. sorry, I'm not discriminating here. But more Lebanese guy, the guy will use his phone and tell you. Because his system does not protect his own. There's nowhere in the world you will not see the government stand first for your own people. The Dangote example is one. If he was an Indian and owned that refinery, he would prefer to sell everything abroad and make effects. He has told you by June, I will stop the importation of petrol. So what I'm trying to say is, there's a nationalism in your own for you first to defend. Because any foreigner in Nigeria, the first rule is what I can get, declare profit and repatriate back home. Whether you like or not, that must do something in Ghana. You see it every year. You go there to the foundation. He must do something in Lagos. So that's why the government must first of all take care of his own first. And that's what God did for us for indigenization. We have now given it away to the Chinese, but give it to everyone. They all in our villages looking for solid minerals. There is no protection apart from that anti-saga miners act, where they say smoke away that. But check in all our laws. From people serving as usher in this event, someone can come from England and be an usher in this place. You can't try that anyway. I checked in the Nigerian Business Council. If you open a company, you have to, by law, employ 3 commissioners. One of them will be your accountant and 2 other persons. They are serving as fees by government. The accountant will sign your tax code, sign your knowledge. So we must find for Nigeria, we must find for our local businesses. So what has happened, based on the current policies, there has been significant inflation, hyperinflation. And who had, anytime I read the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, those are figures. I know they are trying to make us look good to outsiders. Between me and you, I know none of us in this call believe them. Maybe the government may believe them, but you will be engaging the highest set of services of the sector. If somebody tells you that we are not exceeding 100% inflation, if it's a lie, try and buy a television. You will see that the price is skyrocketing. So you start wondering where the NPS gets their own. But I understand. We should have something which we can do to also negotiate with others. So I understand. And I can tell you that is why the problem we are having in the oil industry. You ask yourself, why are the IOCs doing? It's simple. When the petroleum industry part of being negotiated, I warned them the National Assembly. I said, take 1% for the community. They said, no, 5%. We are the owners. Eventually, they settled for 3%. But 3% of gross, if you have a budget of $20 billion, you take 3% first and give to NURPC or a government agency to keep for the community. Have you heard anyone where you tax on gross? Are you even sure you will make 3% gross profit on the entire project? So this is the reason why everybody, the guys have to say, I think there are some government people involved on this side. They don't want to go. MC, I was first here today to talk. And I'm going to talk. I'm a responsible person. I just make an application by motion supported with all these affidavits to please allow this 5-7 minutes. I will wrap up. Thank you. So what has happened is a hyperinflation because of foreign policies. There is a significant rise in sold goods. What I mean by that is a lot of money. It came from last year, or what I was saying, but to 7%. And these are goods, manufactured goods, which are fast. This is the goods that the federal competition is going to bust in the warehouse and say, wow, afford it. They are not hungry. They cannot sell, so they don't want to eat it. So I asked the federal commission, I said, the custom changes is rate every day. Have you invaded them? to ask them what are they changing. But you go to the supermarket who's supposed to keep a stock for like 1 month or 2 months, you go and bust their warehouse and say they are changing the price of milk. What were they expecting? When the naira changes every day, it will change. It's not the businessman's fault. They have to do with the macroeconomic policy of the government. And not the center, because if my interest rate is down 40%, the price of settled transactions, so this is the challenge. We are all working each other. That's why Labour is asking for 1 million naira or 700,000. Yes, they do want to take that percent, but I've asked my friend and said, well, you go to talk for you. So let's try the middle ground. So that we don't create more problem where no exist. So if you check what they have warehouses full of goods which they cannot sell. Most factories in Nigeria today they are doing 2 or 3 days because they cannot afford to do for the same day. So this is a challenge because people cannot afford it. So this is a big problem for both the industry and the government. Then we also have the issue of policy consistency. This is the biggest problem of all. Because as we are sitting here now, somebody can walk up to our president and talk and they will sign it and tomorrow they are not. And most times always pass later. They don't sign roads to be built or factories to be held or to be one, but it's always pass. So, and here, the National Assembly will not create a law and create more problems for us. We will in the US, for the US Africa Business Summit, when the cyber security levy was passed, during the open ceremony after immediately. So we walked around our network and thank God on Sunday when the president, the bosses, they have to graciously allow us to do that. But what I'm saying is, it does put more in that. In fact, people are looking at Nigeria with peace because of the kind of policy that coming out of Nigeria, they're trying to sell Nigeria. So we have the issue of revenue, but you have already mentioned that. But let me mention the issue of customs. Because customs is not a revenue generation agency anyway. It's a trade facilitation unit. But these are our customs. Charges in dollars. It will tell you what is the next rate. CBN, in conspiracy with CBN. CBN gives them rate daily for the first time in Nigeria. The government does not have its own internal mechanism to determine anything. It's really daily. If I'm like CBN, they will tell you. You remember that finance stock that somebody wants to buy farm. Each time you try to pay, government will have 10. So when you order for goods, even before they leave the war in London, they will have increased the rates. Then when it's mid-sea, it goes up. What is even most annoying? When the naira went below 1,000, you know what the custom rate was? 1,200. So this is the problem. You can ask yourself, is the government going to eat the money to kill all the business? So all of us speak out. Going back to the 8-point agenda is there to eradicate poverty. So these agencies who are spying against that agenda, what they gave us, we must accept that account and set them up a master to show they are not doing the right thing. This Nigeria is for all of us. We find a way to have this dialogue using their own words because they give us the 8-point agenda. Even single-digit loans is there. Encouraging POI gives single-digit interest rates. So the government recognizes the impact in business. So why will the same government be giving 9% today? Then the central bank is charging 27% PRO rate, so that the banks are charging 50%. It's the same government. So which mandate is the central bank executive? Is it not the same 8-point agenda? So we ask them. So this is the challenge. The central bank must follow the government policy. The private sector is not the problem of inflation. We all know this. The chairman of the government does not have money anymore. They collected it to that. But the truth is, the biggest driver of inflation is your currency. If your some forests, once the change, when the market goes to dollar, they say dollar is the problem, that's why tomatoes is looking red. So you must make sure we stabilize our price. We are serious. That is the beginning and end of all our problem. That is the problem with the power. You can see the power went down when the naira went up, when the naira appreciated. So that is the beginning of all our frustration. I know the central bank and the government does not have all the money. Then we can work with them. If they also open up to us and tell us this is the problem, how do we moderate it? We say fine. For the industries, let's allocate 50% of resources for our production sector. Those of us that want to buy those goods, we can go to Mala. We don't have problem with food. This is already affording it, so it's not a problem. But your productive sector, as bad as IBG was, there was something for the industries. So this government must give something to the production sector. You cannot send people to go to the same market where the drug dealer goes to buy dollar. It's not going to work. You can't make profit because of the industry. You must have a price for the production sector. So this is the thing, and it's not the custom to know how bad what they are doing is illegal. Under their act, now Simon used to be on the board. So when they were making the change, I went to lobby and said, give us more seats. But my president was there. They said, we cannot give one organization one. So they put it on OPS. We have 5 organizations. They agreed. They gave us 2 slots. You know what happened? The government freed their friends and put them there. We confronted Mr. African. I said, those guys are not from us. He said, she did that guy you know, and he used to be our staff. He knew the house, and we don't know you. So if you need something from me, you're supposed to ask me to bring a nomination. So what is the question? You think if I'm on the board of custom, they can change this money? I will stand on the table, we will be there. We will not change it. We will stay on the top. That's what will happen. Because they know what they want to do. They be their friends. And when you know you are not qualified, can you challenge your master? So the guys that are there, they are not people, all the boys of custom already. I can tell you I'm challenged. But there are people, there's a feature in their body which is upload of them. So I'll tell you there's a section that because of that allows you as a business. If you want to import, you send this called advance brief, which they just launched in May. It's not also the WTO under the World Customs Regulation. It says if you want to import anything, you can write to the customs. And within 90 days, they will respond and give you a quotation on the origin, the type of goods, and the value you pay. That rate they give you, they cannot change it with a reasonable notice. A reasonable notice cannot be a day, cannot be 2 days, cannot be 1 week. So even the law undertakes a custom that does not change the rate daily. So that one law, and they change it every day. Every day. So this is the challenge. So all of us must work together. We must work together. Our biggest problem is we work alone. And they divide us and put some of us in the room and make it look as if we are fighting them. Same government will come and protect. We should all work together. It's in our interest to succeed. It's our country. We must fight for this. So this is part of the issue. There's the issue of preference for revenue over tax. You can see every government that comes in Nigeria, the first thing they try to perfect the tax system. They don't see the bad growth, they don't see the bad effort, they don't see the escalators are not working. It's always tax, tax, tax. But somebody has made a joke, I don't know whether I can repeat it here, that when you have this up record on stage, you have a tax man and a banker as number 1 number 2, not very expensive. So, there's the issue of what we call implicit tax. This is what the President of African Development Bank talked about. What we mean by implicit taxes, apart from the tax you pay, the one you use to do road, pay area boys in your area, have their own security, a lot of Boko you see, all of them are also provided by government. You see what happened at Boko, where people went and invaded the factory. They have to now protect themselves. And the investors started, government paying tax. So implicit tax is even far above the current tax rates. All of us in this will pay it. So these things are going to provide, not only the community, because they cannot provide for the community and still out of the oil before they will see it. Again, pay for the youth, pay for the chief, pay for you remember what the total AB said when we were doing 6 billion investment in Angola, that 50 billion Nigerian money there and what we did. He said Nigeria is the best place in terms of yield. But I have decided to choose a more stable policy environment over uncertainty. Because when you enter Nigeria, you are not sure what rate you pay eventually through visitors. So we all have a duty to create a country to have an ecosystem where investment can flourish, and when you not, every people are using everything. It's only Japan. Microsoft just closed down the African office. No government agencies complaining. I've never seen them say, what happened? How can we avoid it? They don't even talk to them. There are not Chinese people who are stealing our city. I said this is another friend investment. They said Mex came and one of the two, then make them want to say with the very best. And then say we invest. I don't know where God is like announcing investment for multinationals. So this is a challenge. So to avoid this self-deception, and let's stay focused. So we have the issue of people doing applications that then let me just start around all the concept. The MC, I don't know whether it's I don't want to be short on the side. So what happens really is, if we continue to do the way we are going, we are going to have some long-term significant effects. We're going to behave as if we are an island unto ourselves. We will have a situation where there will increase poverty and inequality. Because that 50 billion, if it was in Nigeria, we would save a lot of money. Even though the problem are happening on the balance of payments, we would have resolved it. Then we also have the issue of economic instability, which we are having now. There is also a food we have, and the way we move government for account. There was also the issue of brain drain and Japan, which we only know. In fact, those are Japan, because of the exchange rate. The central bank has managed to bring them back, and some people are coming back from London, who they are depositing because of the exchange rate. It's not their fault, it's their power that is failing them. The policies are failing. That's why they are coming back. So they also have the generation of public service that are very experiencing. We also have the issue of food security, where our local farmers prefer to sell to foreigners when they know now, because it pays to collect the FX instead of selling naira. This is our fault. I'm not saying me and you, but we are not doing enough to go to the background. This is what I'm saying. So we also have social unrest and care, which we all expect every day. The point they displayed there at the landmark, nobody, there was nothing from the Lagos state or the federal government to say, based on what we have done, we need to build well, I need to build flag vessel, we need to build them money. This is the alternative we have made for them. There's nothing like that. Then you expect to park your car around there now and expect to come out with your side mirror and still in that. So we are the one creating the problem. I want to say that it's government policies that create foreign. I'm sorry to say this. You ask me how. I'll explain. If me now want to buy a car, because I've worked for over 40 years or 30 years, I can pay that. Here's this young man who really needs the car more than me because he wants to marry, he needs to impress the girl. He needs to have a remote. There is no mortgage. There is no car loan. So what were you expecting to buy that car? You have to find a way to enter your bank account and do the full-time way and collect something for his own enjoyment. So big is lack of policies. Is lack of government policies that will encourage youth to retain talent, for talent to stay now. That's why they're desperate. That's why they go to Canada. Because in Canada, the great system that teach those kids with the same salary. So we must create an ecosystem. Not the long talking about it must really happen. So we also have the issue of erosion of trust and potential for intervention. But what government always do when they fail, they send the police. So this is what they are. So this is the overall development development policies I like to do. So I've also mentioned examples of countries that have been in similar situations like us. I took time to mention Chile, New Zealand, South Korea, Germany, Singapore, Sweden, and you say, I think I'm talking about the world and talk like Asian Africans too. Rwanda today, with all the problems they have, you will not believe it's the same country. This Ghana you see, when Obasanjo was president, there's no single house in Ghana that has 10 lines, everything was rooted. Obasanjo goes out there and said, if you don't go into 20, but you must want to do something Ghana, people follow you. Our bank friends that they will open a bank here, what they ask for $500 million, go to them, they will get a total culture. This house I'm going to kill you. He said, there's none like that, man. So what I'm telling you, don't become I'm not saying they are doing family, but at least the significant advance they made within this short time. If you go to all the countries in the world, even Atlanta, before the Olympics, Atlanta was like a village. Go to the place they call Buckhead. They used to have kiosks in that place. There is a financial center. I was in Dallas. I was there 15 years ago. I went there. I did not recognize this. Dubai is done. India is doing it now. We're not able to do it. I think probably we never. We are quarreling with the expatriate level. We are quarreling with the, it's just we don't behave as if we are not part of the world. So please, all of us will work hard to find a way where we can actually, next year, to find out where we are moved from here to there. And I've taken the Indian example. India, since 1991, India started this journey. So they are number 3 or 4 in the world. Where is Nigeria? We are going down. So this is a challenge. We should not, I've listed all the Indian examples, about 32 of them, so that you have it, and how India made it. And if you have an Indian staff, it's not like to come back. When you go down, there's no need for you to come back, because they are all doing very well. So these reforms, as you have seen, they are all examples of possibilities, and why we must all work hard to make a connected state Nigeria. The Chamber of Commerce is ready to partner with all of you. So we also have issue of inflation, investor confidence, and also show how we can retain efforts in Nigeria without going the textbook way. By having more stakeholder engagement, and I'm running up about the issue of financial reforms. I also mentioned 10 things that must be done, because I'm not just here to point at problems. Nobody's going to do this country for us. I can give you an example. Is the digital system that will do the thing. Any other person here from outside, you can see when the thing shakes, they leave. Come back down with what he said. He said, we have decided to move from production to training. Whereas, if you go put on my friend from this, you start with the go slow from the pump and plastic I mentioned. Here you learn trends of what the demand is. Then you move to the shop, you learn how to see customers. Then after you move to where you can travel down with your master. And then you finish, you have PhD in every aspect of the business. So if someone that is producing, now they want to go back to working on the streets and be selling again, that's what Dr. is telling us. Your company don't put enough for production. So it's better to sell. So this is what, if you start like that, we'll lose everything, even our who we are. So I've listed 10 items for what the government should do, and also see what they are doing. And very importantly, the issue of law and order. There's a perception that the government is self-compliant. We all saw that there were 50 policemen that responded for reason to go and answer a charge. And I didn't know why I should play guilty, because as a lawyer, if I sprayed last year and saw it on television, I can show you that those points in the newspaper notices. And I don't prove it, because I have no one of that, those to prove. You see, when the white man went there, big man, he then don't say they want to do it like it. That's our law. And Judge, is it yesterday or 2 days ago, Justice Whitney gave a convicted, highly celebrated criminal 2 weeks to go and bury his mother. How many poor men have that kind of privilege? This, and you are listening, you are not shouting, you are not putting on your front page. Now, what is this? So, you know how they are perceived. When this Harry came here, there's one thing, one famous thing, I don't measure his name, I don't know from that community, who is very flamboyant. And Larry called him his in-law. Do you know how they say in Nigeria, the man is escaped from Torah for $70,000 in Canada, in 419. And we say that in Nigeria, the criminals are the leaders. If you read how hurtful what was said about Nigeria when we are talking about Buhari, you now realize how we are passing. We must start anyhow. I'm not here to put you down. We were called for one boy to over the world and change the story. There is a boy called Adewale Yusuf. University. They have the biggest university of Italy. They have 100,000 students in that school from 110 countries. The boy is in my network. The boy said, I'm going to destroy education. Because I did not have the opportunity, I'm going to use my knowledge to disrupt education. They are started. This same boy has an office in Lagos here with 50 staff. He has a Nigerian office in Uganda to show you how government does it. When he opened the office, he was not there. The Uganda government came to Rwanda. After 2 years, they put anything in our country. When he told them the ideas, they started doing that and they got $500,000 that would like to write the money to support to this grant. This year, they approved $1 million from the government. You know what they want? By this year, the government will pledge 83,000 federal grant. And the government said, and half of this will be from our country. That is how a government supports it. But in Nigeria, the government is competing with business. They want to tell you how to do it. They will even come for you. Even when you go to the office, the way they look at you, it's as if you are a refugee in your own country. This should stop. This is not right. So there will be proper respect for business. But if you just tell them that I want to invest, I just dress 2 barbers, where they can carry uniform, and say they are investors, they will be considered of this. And even though they told us that there was a 14 video from India. I was there. If you see that video, the president commented, I was spending our money as a postal boy. I used to follow them because they are marketing. I can tell you, don't go to our school. All you. One of the persons that made that commitment is a company already in Nigeria. You took photographs with our president, stood with our president, and you see us, and are still operating in Nigeria. Can you tell us the local government in Ghana? So we should, or people from Canada, our business the president, can we assist you? Our partnership with CIA, the office of Chamber of Commerce for the whole of India. So that we know we can work on those things. They don't want us to work on. I'm not saying the president, you know what I'm saying? So, if you have a credible platform, which you can use to draw attention to these challenges, how does a small Chamber of Commerce president? There is a newspaper, everyone reads forward. You should be part of the foundation for good. You should not give up. You should be the adherents. You should be the MPs. You should be the Dangote. Where we can tell our people, say, this problem I'm going to solve it. That is what you do. So use your pen and paper and solve problems. Expose corruption. Expose tax government. Expose people who are not following the family. Then put the finger and say, I want you to do Facebook. This is what I do. So this, I want all of you to keep strong, keep fighting. And most importantly, Nigeria is the best place to live. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the powerful speech. It was quite refreshing to hear you speak truth to power. I'll give you another round of applause for you. All right, moving ahead, and because we're pressed for time, I'll just like to urge each and every one of the other speakers who are coming up to please stick to the time that's been allotted to you. right in front of you while you speak. So I'd like to just welcome for his short address, representing the president of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, Mr. Adeyemi Aino, who is a fellow and a council member of the CIS. So please put your hands together for him, and please, you have 5 minutes to deliver your presentation. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. All Saturday is probably this is the event. And here to present Mr. Lauro, the President and Chairman of Council of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers. How will this happen? I wish to thank Vanguard India Limited for inviting the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers to the 2024 edition of Vanguard Second Edition. The theme, Reforms in an Era of Global Uncertainties. We congratulate you and join you in welcoming all guests to this event. The topic is most appropriate one at this point, given the fact that the new government was elected in Nigeria last year, and the federal government under President Bola ECFR have been success of establishing economic policies, reforms to galvanize accelerated economic growth in the country. In our mind, believe that the overall policy course of the government is in the right direction, even though there will be some pains at the initial stages due to the extent of the deterioration of the economic structure in the country generally. Having said that, we should like to make a few comments on how to make the process of actualizing the federal government's vision more effective. We would like to stress that there is no absolutely free flow of currency anywhere in the world. What we have in democratic countries is a managed closed currency management system. Because the reality is that it will be suicidal for any country to just expose its natural currency totally to the rigors of markets and sharks to prey on. So, the danger in the advanced economy is regulated deregulation, which reward or substantially reducing profits. This includes companies like Nestle, Neptune, and others. The Institute expects the Dangotes, the electricity distribution companies, the NNPC PLC to be listed on the exchange before the end of 2024. Finally, and in conclusion, we wish to reiterate the importance of substantially increasing the aggregate volume and rate of production in the economy. The sustainable way to strengthen our national currency in Nigeria is to produce what we consume domestically and reduce importation. The government and all stakeholders in the economy will therefore work towards achieving a significant increase in the local production. Companies like Toyota Nigeria should have a production line in Nigeria, which will run in the manufacturing of car tires, car batteries, servicing parts, engine oil, etc. However, the federal government should examine the increase of Band A electricity as it will definitely affect the cost of production and make locally produced goods uncompetitive compared to importation. I congratulate Vanguard India Limited for this event and wish you all a memorable time. Thank you.
right, so we're going to the final lap of this discourse, which is the panel session. And I'd first like to welcome on stage the chairman of the panel session, Dr. Ayo Teriba. Please come to the podium to open the panel conversation. Please put your hands together for the presentation. All right. Okay. I'd also like to invite to the podium who would also be speaking on this panel, Mr. Bismarck Rewani. Please put your hands together for him and also to join the panel is Malam Aminu Wadabi, the president of the Association of VC Operators of Nigeria. Please put your hands together for him. And of course, the final panelist will be Mr. Blasi Jebo, the director of the Spanish Agency. Please put your hands together for him. And the person to join the panel will be the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Mr. Joe Ajero. All right. So I'll open the panel conversation with an opening question for each of the panelists, and of course, would leave so Ayo Teriba to moderate the remainder part of the conversations. Of course, I'd like to start with, from my left, the president of the NLC, Mr. Joe Ajero. There's a headline, the Vanguard newspapers today, that of course talks about the fact that you're sitting on the corner of 3,000 of one minimum wage payments. The argument obviously is that the government cannot afford paying that amount per month, and neither can state governments afford to pay that as a minimum wage. So I guess my question to you is, on what fundamentals are you making the argument to demand a 450,000 naira minimum wage from the federal government, knowing that that amount is going to push forward inflation and worsen the situation that we find ourselves in?
Thank you very much. Ordinarily, I would have asked you to confirm this morning. The current minimum wage we are receiving translates to about $20. And that's the case all over the world. And from all that we have been discussing here, they are benchmarked, on dollar, or the common factor we use, the cost of living index, cabinet wages. I want you to benchmark it probably a bag of rice. This is about 4,000 naira. I would only want you to ask people that refill their cylinder. Maybe 16,000, 17,000, they do it twice in a month. Cook. It is like something thousand naira. I only want you to benchmark it to a plate of mama food at 20,000 a month. Now, on and on, before you have that person. I want to call it for you to look at the UN provision that no human being should live on less than $2 per day. For a family of 6, that would amount to $12. Multiply it, that's 3,600. Convert it to the current exchange rate. Do you want Level to suggest that people should live on less than $1, not simply $2 per day? Whether in the global index or cost of living index, and match it to Mr. President's position that is going to give Nigerians a living wage. And the living wage in actual fact is different from the minimum wage. The living wage is that which will keep you and your family, at least for you to eat at the end of the month. The fact that you have so much devalued your naira that it doesn't have weight again should not make us cut to feet, go to work and come back. No worker, including those in this company, goes to work and back without spending 2,000 a day. In a month, it's 60,000. Now check all these things, and see whether a worker, if it's any 650,000 proposed, whether he will have one naira savings. We deliberately didn't put communications. We deliberately didn't put tax. We assume that a worker doesn't have parents in our calculation. That is what brought us to where we are today on the issue. And on the premise that it creates inflation, I disagree with you. Because inflation is already here with us. And it is real wage that generates the economy. Because when workers earn, they purchase. When you increase the purchasing power of workers, the economy will grow. You have proper productivity. So it's not a very
I will be challenging you on that as time goes on. So very quickly, I'd just like to ask Mr. Riwani this very important question on the fact that the Egyptians who seem to have a similar problem like ours, and they raised basis points by 600. And what has happened essentially, even after raising heights, is that they've attracted a lot of portfolio investments into Egypt. We have done the same thing, obviously in Nigeria, by raising rates. But in the last quarter, there was a report yesterday, I think it was on Business Day newspapers, that said, on average, Nigeria lost about $26 billion in the last quarter on capital exiting Nigeria. What are the Egyptians getting right that we are getting wrong?
Very interesting question. And it brings you back to the theme of this, which says reform in the era of global economic uncertainty. The reality is that it is not global economic uncertainty, there is also global political uncertainty. You must look at economic policy in the context of both economic issues and political issues. Egypt is strategically located. Egypt is critical to what is happening in Palestine and Gaza. Therefore, if Egypt is raising money, and I think $8.5 billion was given to Egypt by the United Arab Emirates, the IMF also put some money in there. The Saudis put some money in there. And they also devalue their currency, increase interest rates to bring it into a good run. The question is that can Nigeria attract money from the UAE, from Saudi Arabia? The reason why the UAE put money into Egypt is that confine whatever radicalized people are to Egypt rather than them coming into Dubai or Abu Dhabi. So there is a strategic interest in ensuring that there's peace and stability in the UAE like confining that crisis to Palestine and Egypt. So that is one. And in global geopolitical terms, you have what they call vital interests, strategic interests, and others. As far as Nigeria is concerned, Nigeria has to look inwards to see how it can improve its own economic destiny. Right? And I think I made some comments about it. We have a lot of how do you optimize the use of your resources so you can have returns to your people that are of good quality. Therefore, comparing Egypt to Nigeria or South Africa and others, it's a different thing altogether. You will see that the White House yesterday, we go to the Kenyan president, was welcomed and honored there. One, Kenya has a inflation rate of almost 6%. Kenya has done a lot of things. More political IT, digital Africa right now. So, what it means is that you have to optimize the use of the resources within, right, and make yourself competitive. Nobody competitive, all respects. If you do that, then you begin to attract you. That's what retain capital. Because the person that has capital first, then more capital comes in. So you retain your capital, you optimize the use of your capital resources, and then you get returns. You will not have so much of a problem as NLCs trying to benchmark inflation, exchange rate, as well as wages. But you also have to look at productivity of those, productivity of labor. Right? And if productivity and data is very clear. For the past, between 2019 and now, we've had 4-5 years of negative labor productivity. It's only the last year or two that we slipped into some positive use of labor. So if you are paying higher wages, where productivity is falling, you are actually stoking inflation. So the first thing you have to do is that you adjust wages, which must increase and improve productivity. And those are the things that are happening in other countries that we have benchmarked ourselves against. If you do anything else, you are just walking your way into a disaster.
So to Dr. Blaze, I hope I got that right. The CBN, institution which you represent, has consistently raised rates over the top of my head for over a year now. Those rates having adjusted moving forward over that period. The argument, of course, economic theory is simply that due to inflation, we raise rates. But it would appear that raising interest rates hasn't tamed inflation over the last year period. And my question to you is twofold. One is, why is the fact that high inflation, high interest rates haven't effectively helped inflation over this period of time? And secondly, what is the ceiling? At what point we say, okay, we can't raise this further given the fact damaging the productivity of the economy, people can't access cheap capital, jobs are being lost. What is the ceiling where you decide that there's no point raising quality?
Thank you very much for this. You answered the question more or less, and I will piggyback on some of the great minds that spoke already. When you have inflation has many causes and many parts. One part of inflation is the monetary policy of monetary policy. And you need to take that down. But there are other issues that need to be addressed, and I think the government is also trying to address it. And I mentioned a few of those in my comments earlier. There are structural issues. We have issues with insecurities of food areas. All of these contribute to inflation. And we have other structural issues that my good friend spoke about some of them. But we have other structural issues over the past that have contributed to where we are today. And that's making it difficult for just using money policy alone to tame inflation. But we need to use that tool, because if that tool is not there, it will not allow inflation to be tamed. I don't know, again, there are many other things. We talked about the effects. One of the things we are doing in that space is to make it more transparent and more market-driven, and to reduce risk. Over the years, one of the big problems we had, and that's why inflation was intractable, right? Because what happens is that we keep the set at the rate, and the down market rate is this much. The guys collect from CBN and go straight to the down market and sell it, and then they go and buy goods, and they still sell it to you at the down market rate. So all they are doing is making supernatural or supernormal with no benefit to the general public. Because what ends up happening is that the general public can be punished twice. Because if we give this multiple rates, all we are seeing is that it is not benefiting the public. And number two, also what you find is that but what you find is that the economy is growing, and the economy and other people who are looking into the economy are saying, what rate are we going to be your rate? So they're not going to bring their money in. Because they feel that one, there is no fair competition, two, there is not so much uncertainty, which is what we have been talking about, and it keeps them away. In this process of fixing and making the effect market more transparent, the Americans started seeing influence. Yes, there were some periods where things are resetting, but in Cuba, we saw a massive spike in influence. And I did say in my comment that we actually had about 160% in 1 quarter of what we had in the whole of 2023. So we are beginning to see these steps, these improvements, things getting better. It will take some time, but if we stay focused on the reforms, and we are disciplined about the reforms, the pain might be there, but they will be shortly, and we'll begin to see more and more results of these reforms.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Aminu, I was going to, I don't know if it's the police or the EFCC that are arresting your members in different parts of the country. In fact, when I saw a policeman walk in here, I was afraid for you. Maybe I just ask you something simple to say, what kind of relationship do you think that these operators can have with the CBN that is less postal, that is more transparent, and that can be more beneficial to the economy? Once you answer, Dr. Tereba will take it from there.
Thank you very much for this important question, because it's all about collaboration in governance and also risks and uncertainty. One of the major things regulators to look at is stakeholder relations. However, our experiences over time with stakeholders and security agencies is generalization of stigmatization. Most of the time, individual change has been addressed as the people that are causing volatility in the market. The exchange rate of Naira is bad, not because of the demand of dollar. But the exchange rate of Naira is bad because of the unearned income that is pursuing them. This is the fact that we always try and avoid where the regulators and the security agencies we put the blame on an ant and leave the elephant in the house. The elephant in the house is corruption, not the religion. So it is good to make that clear. If you really change association will really change operators of Nigeria, AFCON is the umbrella body of all the licenses will change. Our sector has seen serious policy integrity. In 2014, just an exchange that is not a money deposit taker. You increase the capital from 10 million to like 5 million. And now we are doing something, even microfinance, that is a bank of money deposit taker. Their capital base is 200 million naira. And now we are raising the capital base of the religion from 35 million naira to 500 million naira. That is their two. Their 1 to 2 billion. Is highly against global standard. Even in UK, capitalization of licenses for religion is £50,000. Let us really use £50,000 as 2,000 naira. There are people of 100 million naira. In Uganda, capitalization of religion is $13,000. In India, it's $67,000. So it's good regulators should look at standard. The president of the CIMA was saying, sometimes we are using Iburanjas to compare with Arsenal and the rest. This is a policy mismatch. We are talking of inflation rate by 23 and 28%. When in real situation, inflation rate is even over 100%. The fridge we buy last year at 47,000. Today is selling over 147,000. So what are we talking? Inflation created uncertainty. And that person, I said, all of us are mad here. Who can tell me that he's not afraid of the way the naira is depleted? The purchasing power of the naira is constantly depleted. People are at a misery level, and then you expect their naira to be stable. It's not possible. Where is the productivity? Zero level of productivity. A consumer nation, for that matter, where we don't produce anything, even those that are producing are going. Take the issue of Japan. For me, Japan is the leadership failure. We should not even celebrate it. Because let us look at the so engagement, collaboration is important. Most of the time, what we see from regulators is very, very bad. With due respect to the representative of the government, when he was trying to justify the cancellation of license, he said of also practice. The exchequer of UK cannot be a public forum come out here and say practice is being money laundering. This is perception of the country. Nigeria is registered by Financial Action Task Force. So if we did not, our leaders cannot protect their operators in media and say they are associating them with money laundering, with terrorism financing, those countries are looking at their rights. So please, public countenance about the subject is very, very important, is garment. Even the security agencies. We are putting our house in order as an association. We embrace innovation. When you are in uncertainty, what do? You should look at yourself first. Where are you as an individual? Surprises are normal, but resilience is the new skill. As the religions who are resilient, we are willing to work and partner with the central bank and also with the security agencies. The part of our appeal to the central bank is engagement. How can you come from nowhere? Yesterday, all of us cannot speak from like 5 million, it's 500 million. What we are trying to avoid, if care is not taken, you are saying EDC are money agents of terrorism finance, you will meet it in the future. Because at the end of the day, these people that have this money and story that will come and get the sector, and that is another money laundering that you are going to face in the future. So our own request is for the Central Bank of Nigeria to engage with us to see how we can help them. We are not fighting Central Bank. We are only saying let's work together. We have put innovation, we have embraced innovation. We do our operations online real time. We are integrated to Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit, where we can render suspicious transaction return and cash transaction return. So the government should be the catalyst, especially the Central Bank of Nigeria. The president of the CFA was saying, when we change our currency, people abandon Naira and they were using safer. Right now, we have over 34 million youth on cryptocurrency platform. Over 34 million Nigerians are in cryptocurrency platform. We deleted NGN on all those platforms. Guess what will happen, Nigerians? There is nowhere in most of these West African countries where Naira is not connected. So regulators should work with operators to even understand how the market operates. As you are here now, you can exchange Naira in the new public. You can exchange Naira in Sudan. People are abandoning the platform. They are now using Naira to buy silver, to buy seeds in Ghana and continue their transaction on the crypto platform. Who is losing? Why losing? So we need to be holistic. Instead of always thinking we want to attack the sector, we are all knowledgeable. Most of the time, the perception is a matter you will change. That is the perception. I want to assure this out. This sector is beyond matter you will change. It's beyond matter you not really change. We have engineers, we have lawyers, we have bankers, we have everyone of the society in our subsector. So we are working hard to help the Central Bank. Let me tell you some of our achievements over the past years. Why the reason of giving intervention in BDC subsector is to converge, is to close the gap. We have achieved that for several times. In 2006, when there is a spike, wider volatility, the Central Bank has tried several levels, whole production system, retail production system, license control, import licenses. Naira continued to negotiate until the first time in 2006 during Professor Johnson. I have tried all measures, yet Naira continued to negotiate. That is how they made research by then. It was practiced in Kenya, and they borrowed from Kenya, and we filled the gap for them. Not long ago, recently, willing buyer, willing seller, make open position, name them, how to go for activity. It has not worked. The moment they mistake, we have been withdrawn, suspended from the market for almost 3 years. And volatility continued. When we were suspended in 2021, the exchange rate in the market was 500 naira to a dollar. But in 2024, about to come back, the exchange rate is 1,915. In fact, country might targeting it at above 2,000. The mere announcement that Central Bank wanted to start intervening in this BDC subsector, dollar even crashed below 1,000. The BDC has gone down for the Central Bank. So you see, it's not a rocket science. The exchange rate of a country is unoxygen. I always remember my Barbara, who won't follow. It's our own oxygen. And we must do something outside the box. It's not Harvard field that will always be using. We should work
is there is a liquidity crisis. So what do we do to address the liquidity crisis? Dr. Kaniba has said it. How can you support when you don't have even enough reserve to defend it? Countries are just floating. They have enough reserve to sleep. So that area now, you hear it now and say, I want to front because the reserve is in 500, 600 billion. So not to think that we're still growing to raise our reserve above $35 billion. So we need to defend our currency because it is the oxygen of our country. A lot of things are going on, inflation is there. We need to change to confirmation. That is another thing when we are facing uncertainty. Let's change to confirmation. Our brother here, the president of the Senate, has said so many things on how we are going to change the confirmation. We should move from economic theories always and adopt some certain practical happening in the economy. We are going to work with the central bank, with the school agency. We had thinking. There was one meeting we went. 95% of the integration, another compensation we should be asking. We do respect Professor Kaliba and Manga, Dr. Rwanda. Siemens is intervening billions of dollars. Out of this intervention, 25% above is up to 5% that is going to be sorry. Sir, where is that 5% being challenged for? That we are still having volatility. And yet, when there is an issue to defend, they will not be attacking the future. Where is that 5% being challenged? The 5% that is being challenged for take care of the retail end of the market. Somebody that wants to buy spare parts for his computer. Somebody that wants to buy screen for his phone. Somebody that wants to pay school subscription. Now, most of you are journalists. You want to pay $100, $200. You will go to the bank where their counter is even higher than you. Companies of them being the same to you. They will even scare you. How many of us are going to buy more and say, I want to $100, $200 transaction? The way we look at you, that feeling, you will not be happy. So, we are not competitors. We are in a country whereby always interest is what that is used to determine a policy. Not any other country that bank is the agent of IMTSO. In India, is the Bureau that are agent of IMTSO, International Money Transfer Operators. But in Nigeria, banks will say the wow, like the grandfather of this sector. Over 90% of these diaspora remittances that we are saying, according to the estate of the president, is externalized. It's not even common. 90% of Nigeria's students are on the phone. In fact, it's the ideal food. I'm said by Dr. Kaniba advocacy of setting our assets. And sir, if we can all put our hands together, come to the same room and analyze this thing, there is not any shortage and immediate strategy that will give us the deserved foreign exchange that will enhance our profit like the diaspora remittances. We have unofficial statistics of 20 million Nigerians working abroad, and it's increasing. We are assisting additional MPSO, giving them opportunity to still be diverting the money, using the money for money laundering, using the money to buy weapons. And it's a bureau that is probably with 1% margin that they are always saying is one that is causing the problem in Nigeria. The bureau that will not cause the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have now had opportunity to listen to everybody. And getting this conversation, discourse, out of the conversation. I want us to recognize who is represented on the panel. We have the NLC, Labour, represented by its president. We have the Central Bank of Nigeria. We have the rule the change, represented by the president of the Association of Nigeria. What are they? Labour, very important group in the economy, and would is a very important market. Central Bank championing the process and making us to get more value out of the foreign exchange markets. And we have those, the sage, the erudite DJ, Mr. Macaroni himself, to help us shape the dialogue. So I want to ask Mr. Boyadabi, the central bank, particularly the central bank, with new announcements because the amendment direct was this morning. New amendments, to your regulatory work. I want you to free, let us know how you perceive this new amendment. I read issues like the policies and you are inactive to pay. I read that this have been dropped. So very interested. In particular, you said that you were excluded from the market since 2021. This regime, etc., has brought you back, to tell us to the latest and how you think that tax process and that impacts the of yourself and then I move on to the president of the
Thank you very much, sir. Like you have seen, even though I want to appreciate the management of the central bank, this is the first in history that the central bank come up with the draft guideline during this new management that we should put our inputs. So we appreciate that magnanimity because the first time it happened, most time there are no draft inputs or public or consultant to put their own contribution. So it's the first time we have seen that, even though we are only giving 1 week notice to put our input. It was already done. We are not able to go around and conduct our members who go in, but we appreciate that. However, our action to the new policies, like I've said, that we go from 35 million to 2 billion naira. Imagine what thousands of percentage. So it will lead to loss of professionalism. It will lead to loss of investment. It will lead to loss of skills. These are players or operators that have been in the market since 1980s.
one day you wake up and say, I have withdrawn their assets, come and apply. We said, it's not fair. What normally happens in the banking sector, in the micro bank sector, they say come and capitalize. As we speak to you, we are confused. As an existing jurisdiction, am I capitalizing or am I applying? I'm happy that Prof. Rwanda is here. We share this terminology for me. There is a lot of confusion. 2 years was given to the banks to capitalize, so we're only given 6 months to raise 2 billion naira. Imagine Money Point, Kuda Bank. Kuda Bank wanted to release $200 million profit before the CBN stopped them. This goes in microfinance banks. And you are giving 1 year, 2 years to capitalize. And they are giving the region 2 billion naira, 6 months to capitalize. So this is not right. We feel the CBN should review. There are so many other things in the reform. We are not against reform, sir. Even the central bank was the subject of reform. There used to be naira and kobo in Nigeria before the establishment of central bank. Reform is to put ordinariness, to put sanity, transparency, and so many other things. So please, we are appealing to the Central Bank of Nigeria to review the capital, to reflect standards, global standards. I've given some figures in other countries, and also the timing is too short, so as we can all belong to Nigeria. If not, the reaction is that politicians will come out and get the same.
So, I wanted somewhere. We started by appreciating also what positive things. Okay. But then you also are saying please don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. And that don't revoke licenses. DJ was.
I think there's some fundamental misunderstanding. There's market structure and there's supply and demand. There are two different things. Even if the market structure is very efficient, put all the capital structure in place, if there's no supply, price will come. So there's a fundamental issue there are dollars coming. If Nigeria doesn't have the dollars, dollars, period. Secondly, structure. The Central Bank of Nigeria, not the administration, private administration, with licensing road changes for themselves. That the abuse of the road change sector was mainly the work and work of the Central Bank at that time. And then later on, you now turn around and say this road change. So there's a lot of inconsistency and contradiction. So one, I think, is an attempt to sanitize the market, change the structure, but there's a fundamental issue. Secondly, there's a big difference between if you are fighting terrorism, you fight terrorism. If you are addressing the value of the person, that's a different thing. You do not mingle the two things. If not, you are going from a simple equation. Now it's going back. Now we have elections on July 4 coming. Currency will continue to oscillate. But what you do as a central bank is to intervene in it to bring some kind of stability. But now losing focus on the fundamentals that make currency, which is your balance of trade, your receipts, your terms of trade, and more than just here, our world starts over another export. So you cannot export. Sorry. You don't have to accept that currency will depreciate the value.
Thank you very much. Before I move on to the president of the government, please, if you have anything you want to say, the central bank, let me know. Sir? Oh. 5% of the money that the central bank deposits. Yes, you get 5%. Apart from you getting money, how much do you contribute on the supply side? Do you, as BDCs, contribute anything to supply? Do you?
The unfortunate thing is the regulation. The regulation says you are not endangered, so that's why many of us are doing it online now. But the money in circulation from the so-called undocumented religions, sometimes it's even more than what is going on. But because there are so many regulations, like in license to religion, they will tell you don't buy more than $5,000. When I have a customer that will come and say, you want to send $200,000 to me, but the regulation, the policy have stopped me to me. So we are not even dependent on the central bank sources. We do. What we are saying, other opportunities that exist for the religion to other like the diaspora remittances, like domiciliary account, embassy account inflows, oil inflows. These people, suppliers, are more comfortable with a simple religion than a complicated and complex bank. So they should open that, make it flexible and accessible and allowable for the religion. Then you can see the official statistics. Over 40 to 60% of school fees is not sourced through the bank, it's sourced through the religion. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I really enjoyed the contribution of my friend from the Real Estate Association. Oh, you see, I had a lot of things to say to you. I had a lot of education to do on this matter, but I'm happy that this man is here. So I think he's educated us very clearly. So I'm not going to repeat what he has said, only to summarize to say that volatility of exchange rate and the correct value of exchange rate is driven by demand and supply. Ultimately, what we want to do with the structure is make sure the structure is not a problem. That's what we want to do. Make sure the market structure does not become a problem that creates on artificial increase. And one of the artificial increase that we had before, we are finding out, is this issue of multiple rates. Because that's the market structure problem. Because that means people are not thinking until the market doing nothing and making money. So we have to correct that. Now, I just want to say one other thing. I will leave the other, we always talking, so we'll continue to talk. One issue that he has raised again and again is the issue of the size of the capitalization. Now, if you remember my remark, I said that one of the things we want to do is make the Bureau of Exchange focus on the original concerning vision, which is to provide that market structure for people who need to do small transactions and do not need to go to the banks to do those small transactions. That's what they are created for. Now, if you are going to regulate an industry, the person who is going to receive that regulation needs to have enough strength, all right, to respond to that regulation. So if you are not going to regulate a one-man business that is standing in the corner of the road, it doesn't have the capacity to respond to regulation. Because the cost of regulation is just too much. So that's why we are saying, come together as Bureau of Exchange. If you are regulating example X in the UK, and you want to regulate one man that is sitting in the corner of under a tree, if regulations are not going to work in the same way. So we need us for BDCs to come together, form bodies
that regulation is not too expensive for them. They can receive the regulation, apply the regulation, and everything will work better for everybody. For those of us who travel a lot, we travel to other countries, we see how bureau exchange are organized. That are other you walk into their office, you exchange your dollar, or you exchange your currency, it's the same kind of thing we want in Nigeria. Right? And that is why we are up with the capital, so that they have enough money to invest in that infrastructure, to provide service, and to follow regulation. Okay. So, I'm ready to talk about that because sometimes when you look at a number changing, it alarms. But if you think about what is behind that number, what is driving it, it makes it easier. You know, I think I'll stop it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, the facts that are going to yes, they already changed in other countries. You enter the post office. Well, as a matter of, as we say, under the tree, it says, but it's not only politicians that are under the tree these days. People go into banking hall in Nigeria, they can't find naira notes. They go to ATM, they can't find naira notes. Even naira notes now, I found that under the tree, POS, so keep that in mind. Okay, particularly now, especially new notes, you find people selling new notes. These are issues, that we need while we try, transactions on legitimate outlets. From formal outlets to informal outlets. Let's not, shift our focus from the important issues that are on the table. And let's now engage with the president of the Nigerian government. Incidentally, 5 years ago, in 2019, President Muhammad Buhari did put together the presidential committee on the implementation of the minimum wage. This is 30,000. That committee had me as one of the members. That BJ as the chairman. And we put together, we didn't advise on how they arrived at the minimum wage. They are already arrived at the minimum wage. What the president asked us to advise him on is where can we find the money to implement it. So we discussed much of this. It is ironic that we are here today now, and I feel you, Labour. All of us are members of Labour. Anybody that has ever had to wake up in the morning, dress up and go and work for